grab your snacks, hide your show mitts, ditch your reliance, and let's dive into this Big Brother drama with Kinda Unhinged. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another Big Brother video, and as many of you know, Zach was the 5th Big Brother player to be eliminated of season 27. So let's get into this interview with him by Entertainment Weekly right now. Let's get to the question everyone wants to ask you right now. What is it like to get hit in the head by Julie Chen Moonves? That is an iconic moment, right? It's one of those things where one day I'm really excited, right? Because I actually got to hug Julie. I actually saved her in the game. And then all of a sudden on my final day, she's beating me upside the head because in her mind, I made a very, very stupid game move. But I still stand by my move because it was, in the moment, the best situation for me. I was really rolling the dice. And if it really paid off for me, I thought, in my opinion, I was really sitting pretty. So I love Julie. It was also understandable because I would still be in the game right now. But I was thinking of the long game when I really should have been focusing on one day at a time. So you stay on the block to protect Morgan and then she doesn't even vote for you to stay in the house? Tell me about that. Yeah, I mean, even from day one, Vince and Morgan were my homies. We were a triangle. She was literally crying, it felt like, every hour about the decision, if it came to that. And I kept having to tell her, Morgan, we still have the blockbuster. There's still a 2/3 chance that Vince and I can get out of this. And if Keanu was sitting there at the very, very end with either of us, we would have had a landslide vote. I knew that there were 4 votes at the very end that could have gone either way. I knew they were going to vote together. And the way that they were looking at me as I sat down after Keanu won, I knew it was my time. I knew it. People were saying, you did good. And I'm like, well, that's not a good thing that I'm hearing right before I have to stand up and give my final speech. But Vince was my homie. The reason why I didn't use the power is that my closest friends would have been on the block together. We would have been in that same exact situation. So I'm thinking, why would I use that now? Let's roll the dice. Let's use this power in a later week where I knew the 4th was not going to be one of my closest friends. And so that was the thought process going in. The perception of the house at the beginning of the week was definitely much different compared to the very end of the week. Everyone was telling me that I was fine, but that's the Big Brother house, right? Everything changes on a dime. Absolutely. The night before we went to sleep, I was feeling good. Then when I revealed my power to Mickey, that's when Morgan knew. That's when Riley literally told me, you're my boy, you're going to stay in this house. Obviously, he did not vote for me to stay. But look, I don't hold anything against anybody. I understand it's a game and everyone's got to do what's best for them. I literally told Lauren, look, I care about you. I really respect you as a person. But at the end of the day, do what's best for your game. Because people were pairing both of us together. And I was like, if that means taking me out of the game or voting against me, no hard feelings. I understand how that goes. So what do you think the reasons were for them? Why did they choose Vince over you? Multiple reasons. Number one, people had mentioned that they had perceived me as a threat. I had won one challenge up to that point. I think I was like 1 for 8. And I'm sitting here like, okay, Zach, your time's coming. You're going to win again. But it's just the perception of the house. Another reason why is that Rachel, that final morning, was pushing so hard for me to stay. And a lot of people wanted her out of the house. So because she was pushing for me to stay, would truth be told, if I won HOH, she was going to be the backdoor person that I was going to put up. So the fact that she was pushing for me to stay, I had a very terrible gut feeling that morning that was like, Vince or I better win or else I'm really in trouble. And then people perceived Lauren and I as a duo. And it's very funny because you've got Riley and Kat sitting there as a literal showmance, right? And so it's crazy how week to week the perception changes of people and the excuses that people throw out just to save their tail. So I think those are the 2 main reasons why. Did Morgan tell you straight up that she was going to keep Vince instead of you? No. That morning, I actually got really emotional with Morgan. I was crying with her because Ashley had come in to me and she's like, Zach, I want to vote for you, but the perception of the house has changed. Those 4 votes, I don't think they're going to be on your side. And so I knew Morgan was one of those 4 votes, and I was getting a little bit frustrated with how everything was going because the night before, everything was good in my eyes. And so I told Morgan, straight up, tell me right before the blockbuster if you're going to keep me or not. And then she was legitimately crying for hours on end before the show started. And I honestly felt bad. So I went up to her and I was like, you know what? It's not fair to you to have to make this decision right now, even if it doesn't come to it, right? I don't want to have to put you in that position. Don't tell me. We'll just see what happens. But I knew once they announced that Keanu won, I was in trouble. I really did have that feeling. What would you have done if you won the regular power of veto? If I had won the regular power of veto, I would have given the actual veto to Vince. And then as Kat was closing the box, I would have played the actual advantage power for myself. Because in that position, Morgan would have been the only person that was really close to us on the block. We could have had an extra vote to keep her in the game, and it would have just been a better scenario. I didn't even care at that point if my cards were shown about who I really cared about in this game. It's just that I knew that Vince and Morgan were my go-tos. They were my homies, so clearly I was pulling for Vince to win the veto, but it never happened. At one point, Morgan was worried that you would choose Lauren over her, and Vince egged her on in that thinking to get her on his side with the vote. Oh, did he really? Yeah. Yeah, so what do you make of that and him maybe at the very least throwing you under the bus? Look, it's gameplay, right? Vince is literally my best friend in the game. I showed my power to both of them in hopes they would keep me in their best interest, and so he had to play what he had to do. I knew for a fact that he had never actually thrown my name under the bus, talked actual crap about me, and I was doing the same. It was a type of situation where I knew I had to kind of position myself in a better spot than Vince to people that we were closest with. So the fact that he did use that tactic, it's like hats off to him. Honestly, you have to do what you have to do. But I honestly didn't know that it came from Vince, which is pretty surprising to me. But I also know that he is a gamer and he's got to do what he's got to do. So genuinely no hard feelings to him. You mentioned that you would have backdoored Rachel had you won HOH. 100%. So who would be the 3 people you would have nominated then? Let's say Keanu goes home and you're still in the house. You win HOH. What 3 people were going up? Kelly won. It would have been Ava 2 because Ava obviously put me up. And then I would have put Kat up as 3 and that would have caused issues with Riley. I would have set Ava down and I would have set Kat down and I would have said, I need y'all to win to pull yourself off. If I had won the veto, I would have put off Kat because nobody is ever going to vote against Ava if Ava is the final person sitting there against anybody else. And so I would have put Rachel in that position. And then if Rachel had won the blockbuster, Kelly would have gone home and I would have been totally fine with that. So that was the game plan going in. And I don't know who the heck is HOH currently right now. If it's someone in the melting pot, then they're going to try and do the same type of situation. You're obviously a physical guy and a great athlete, yet you did not win a single competition after saving Julie from the mastermind on day 1. What happened and how frustrating was that? It was frustrating. I had a whole conversation with Rachel. She won so many comps in her season and it was frustrating, right? I was actually kind of telling myself, sooner or later you're going to get that athletic comp. Truthfully, I thought the blockbuster was going to be an athletic comp or something that was a bit more skill rather than puzzle. It was not, but that's the nature of the game. I think the one athletic comp that I had, it was the balance beam competition, and Riley is just a freaking giraffe. I was in that final 2 and I was praying that I was going to be the second person to go, so I knew the time I had to beat, but that man ran it perfectly. And so I was honestly hoping for a better showing when it came to the competition side of the game, but Big Brother humbles you. So I've been severely humbled. But it was a great experience and hopefully I get another opportunity to do so. Whom are you rooting for to win? I'm rooting for Morgan or Vince to win. They're my closest people. I respect Mickey's game and that's the reason why I wanted her in the Melting Pot alliance with Vince and Morgan. So any of those 3 really. I'm thrilled up and over the moon if any of them win. I believe that Mickey sooner or later will be targeted a lot, and I think that because Vince has been on the block before, he's about to be in danger depending on who wins HOH. If Rachel wins HOH, you may have one of the best episodes in Big Brother history because she's about to throw up everybody, a lot of close friends of mine. Well, Zach, we saw some tears from you in the house. When was the last time you cried that much? Oh gosh, man, the house throws you for a whirl. I saw some sad puppy dog videos on TikTok right before I came onto the show, so that probably was the most recent time, but actually it's like an emotional beating is the best way to describe it to America. I think if there was 38 days but nobody realizes downtime in between each thing, there would have been multiple days from when you win the veto to when they announced who was going to be pulled off the block, right? And then after that, I had 3+ days to try and pull the votes and everything. That's where the emotional roller coaster came from. Because right when the veto block situation ended, I still thought I had the votes. And then 12 hours later, Mickey tells me that I don't have the votes. Then I announced that I do have the power to some people and everyone's telling me that they have my back and I do have the votes again. So it's kind of like an emotional roller coaster and I had to let it out that moment. I would tell America it's absolutely not what you expect and there's a lot of downtime and you can only talk about your favorite colors and where they live and occupations so much in that house. Let's just say I'm not surprised that I cried a lot in that house. I know you've got to run, Zach. So before you do, I just want to thank you from Big Brother fans everywhere for saving our host from the mastermind. I know that was a harrowing experience going up against that diabolical force. We appreciate you getting her back. Thank you for having me. And like I said, it was a bucket list moment for me to hug Julie and to save her. I can forever say that. And to all the Big Brother fans, thank you guys so much for the support. It's been an incredible journey and I'm really excited to see who wins. So we'll be cheering them on together. All right, guys, that's that. Let me know what y'all thought about this Zach interview in the comments down below. And can you believe that he was the 5th person to be eliminated? Personally, I would have rather saw Vince eliminated over Zach, but you guys let me know what y'all think. If you want more Big Brother content like this, please subscribe. And if you like this video, please hit the like.
Flurries, you better grab a life vest, Kristen.